Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the another segment of PGCA free webinar series. This afternoon, we will talk on resilience in the new normal to be facilitated by Father Ted Gonzales, one of our board of directors of the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association. But before we formally open this webinar, may I give some few reminders for everyone. Uh, at the end of this webinar, those who have registered through our uh, registration link posted before, please answer the post test and evaluation. So a link will be provided either at the comment section or on a separate post in the PGCA official page. Um, please take note also that we are dealing with the thousands of participants when it comes to e-certificates. So please be sure or please patiently wait since we are dealing with thousands of e-certificates, but it will be mailed to you soon. Then, schedule for the upcoming webinars are already posted at the PGCA official page. So for every webinar, there is a separate post or poster with registration link. Again, please register, then attend the webinar, answer the post test and evaluation, and please wait for your e-certificates. Again, we would like to clarify, register first. The registration link will be posted on a separate poster. And please don't forget to like and follow the PGCA official Facebook page. Okay, then you attend the webinar. And after that, you answer the post test and evaluation. And please wait for your e-certificates. For those who are asking also clarification, these webinars by the PGCA will have corresponding CPD points. Again, there will be corresponding CPD points. So these are webinars. Last Tuesday, I've hosted or facilitated a webinar. Then today, Father Ted. On June 2, Doc Julian. Then on June 4, Doc Rick. Again on June 9, Doc Julian. And on June 11, Father RC. Please take note of this. Again, each webinar, there will be a separate poster with the link provided. So good afternoon once again. Welcome to the PGCA free webinar series. And this afternoon we will be talking Resiliency in the New Normal by Father Ted. Right now we would like to acknowledge our about 2,500 participants and those watching from our FB Live via the PGCA official Facebook page. Before we start, may I ask our participants to put ourselves in the presence of our God. Loving and gracious Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of persons, the gift of community, this all the gifts and blessings. We ask you to guide us and protect us always in the midst of this pandemic, and send forth your Holy Spirit to enlighten our minds and hearts and be resilient in this new normal. Amen. So good afternoon once again. Father Ted, if you're ready, you may uh, proceed with our webinar. Father Ted, I think you're muted.
Can you hear
Ayan.
now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Again, thank you, Francis, for introducing this topic, resiliency in the new normal. Um, just a little background on this topic that we have. As you can see, the image that we have is parang kawayan, bamboo, or in Visayas, sometimes they call it buglas, no? So the image is you have storm, and of course we have a lot of storms in the Philippines that come our way. But this time the storm is a droplet. We cannot see it, yet it makes us scared, overwhelmed with a lot of emotions, and it paralyzed not just the Philippines but the whole world, and so many people have died. No, but like this bamboo, it is swept and hit by the storm. But what hit us was this pandemic, no, all over the world. So, but it will come back. It will bounce back. Okay. The other image that we have is every morning, when I wake up, I part of my ritual is to see the sunrise. uh, I have my spot is on the fourth floor, and then I go up to the fifth floor. That's where I wash my, I hang my clothes. Okay, but it's also a place where I pray, no, and I can see the sunrise every morning, and that's where I do my morning prayers, and I begin to hear the birds, no, singing, and I do my quiet prayer and my body prayer also to do a little exercise. But I see the morning sun. It is like they say there is a belief that this after the sunset, this sun will like battle with darkness, and then it will rise on the east. No, that's why Easter is like not just the resurrection, but it's also the way life begins to rise, no, on the east. Okay, a little background on this resiliency. Resiliency is really the capacity to bounce back. In Latin, we call it salire, no? And then in times of adversities, adversities are actually like turning points, challenges, difficulties, and crises. Some people, those who do research on resilience, they say you begin to ask, who am I, no? you begin to find out your identity, and then you begin to find out your resources, the people around you who support you, and also what you can do. No, at this early start of this COVID-19, I began to ask myself, what is the area of my influence? In other words, the web of relationships that we have. So I began to plot out who are the people I can connect with. No, so I began to ask myself, of course, my family, then my classmates, my former classmates, and then also this PGCA guidance counselors, the different chapters around the Philippines. And I began to be in touch, and also the different leaders of the different organizations connected with PGCA. And then the new normal, you already hear about these precautions, about ways we want to have safety, no? Face masks, the protective equipment, social distancing, the quarantine, no? Enhanced community quarantine, the modified enhanced community quarantine, then the general community quarantine, no? And of course, because we are on quarantine, we cannot get out. And of course, now it's a little, people are beginning to go out, and but still we still have the quarantine in the Ateneo here in the campus. We still are on a restricted mode. Only few people can enter, no, the campus, those who deliver the food, etc. But because we have a lot of seniors in the wellness infirmary center, and there is some restriction, no, so to avoid this contamination. And of course, the only way to get in touch with each other would be this, we call it digital technology, and online, no? Online classes are beginning to be uh, like this webinar, no? And at the start of the classes, people are beginning to say that especially with the Department of Education and CHED and all this. This seems to be the mode now, these online classes, no? And then, of course, we hear about the frontliners who are still busy, no? Facing this, a lot of sick people, and it's going up. We haven't really flattened the curve. And of course, we hear, and this is the sad part, that we begin to hear now about the layoffs. We hear the word redundancy, early retirement. In fact, there are some teachers who are worried if they will be able to be employed, no? And there are some OFW, they're returning home, no? This repatriation, and because the other like cruise liners and hotels are laying off people, no? And of course there are fewer flights, no? So in fact, we have also a broadcasting which was shut down, and about 11,000 are threatened to be, risking their, if they will have jobs or whatever, no, because of lack of renewal of their franchise permit. Okay, maybe a little definition of resilience. Resilience describes a process. In fact, it's also about dynamic relationship with people, whereby people bounce back uh, from adversity and go on with their lives. It is a dynamic process, highly influenced by certain protective factors. Of course, we hear about this, uh, what safety, no? And protective factors are specific competencies. Like we have certain skills that are necessary for the process of resilience to occur. Competencies are those healthy skills. This is a good word, healthy skills and abilities that the individual can access and may occur within the individual or the interpersonal or family environment. Okay, that might help us in trying to find it. But basically, it's really bouncing back, no, in the context of adversities. Okay, sa Tagalog, sabi natin, hindi na mahalaga ilang beses ka babagsak. Mahalaga ilang beses ka babangon, no? So, And then, of course, you can see, at least from my own experience, they say that there are some resilient stories. For example, of course, there are real hackers, no? And they can really attack certain banks and certain credit cards, etc. But hackers who are able to find healthier habits, one day they become like antivirus experts, no? Poachers, they become tourist guides. For example, yung sa Butanding, no? People who hunted the Butanding are transformed into like tourist guides. Addicts, here before our COVID-19, we had a lot of people, in fact, many thousands were killed. But if they recover, no, addicts, they will witness and attest that they become service workers, no? And you will see that a lot of these people are able to bounce back from adversities. It's good to. I was trying to get in touch with a number of our counselors and a number of people. What I was telling you about earlier, and a number of people were talking about how they were facing this COVID-19. In a short while, we will try to mention a number of them. Okay, part of my background of this resiliency studies, I began to ask myself, what are the top three adversities of the Filipinos? No, later I will answer that, and then advent of our desires. What are really our deepest desires? If you ask the Filipinos, what are our deepest desires? In the past, I began to ask that question. And then what brings us to the light? Of course, the symbol for that is parol, no? I will talk about that, especially during Christmas, no? Or even before Christmas, you have people already putting out the lantern. It's a symbol of hope for many of us. And then these resilient families, no? The research of from a Walsh, no? And then Filipino wives in the face of infidelity. That was my dissertation, because I was interested with this resiliency, no? And then readings on inspiring stories and best practices and excellence. So when I was in grad school, I began to be interested from the different libraries to find out this stories of resiliencies and best practices and excellence, no? So, and then when I returned to the Philippines, I began to ask myself, what are the stories in the Philippines? So you have this, I call it agimat ni Apo, but basically it's really, sa Bisaya, parang hiyas or gems, no? And it was applied, earlier, I thought it was for good governance because I was really interested in best practices. And then because of the disasters in our country, I began to ask myself, to simplify it as I go around the Philippines, itong may cake ka ba, no? May cake ka ba? Then I was also interested in asking, go around the shrines or the monasteries when I do my retreats. What are the prayers of the people? Meaning their deepest desires. When they go to their God, what do they ask for? And then because of this, before the COVID-19, we have this drug war, no? And I asked myself, how do we face the drug war? And then I began to ask myself, if we have to pass on certain virtues or dispositions to the next generation of leaders or young people, what kind of signature will we have? And then, of course, during this pandemic, I began to inquire about this mental health and also resilience, no? And through this, kumustahan lang, this BAGA, I'll talk about it in a short while. And I have discussed this already with a number of people. So far, we have had already about 63, no? Kumustahan all over different groups. And that one is about the heart, the head, and the hands. And then, of course, Tagalog, abot puso, abot tanaw, abot kaya, no? And then, of course, my own version of this resilience, I call it crown gems, no? So that's the part of the journey I have taken. Okay, if you had a house, no? And then many of us are looking for that home. In fact, many of us nahihiwalay sa mga pamilya, and some really feel kahit malapit na yung tirahan, pero because of seniors, they don't want to contaminate them. Minsan nag-hi, hello na lang, ganon. I was listening to a group, some teachers, the other kahapon yata yon, and then they were saying that from Mabalacat to Angeles, although of course there's a gradual opening already of the checkpoints, pero ano lang, mag-hi lang, hello, of course, habang nagkukwento yung tao, parang nalulungkot na siya, ganun, kasi hindi pwedeng malapitan yung pamilya, ganun, kasi sa paghihiwalay. And of course, we have stressors, or if you like to call it adversities, external and internal. It affects many of us, no? And and it affects our home, no? This like what we said earlier in COVID-19, the virus, no? And of course, there are also internal stressors. You can see even before the COVID-19, there are already like internal viruses affecting relationships and fears and the kind of relationships that people had. So it was more heightened during this, how people relate, mga mag-asawa, and then also family members, especially if there are old issues that haunt the whole family. To begin to define what are these adversities or stressors that we have. And important is to have itong tawag ko ay parol, no? In fact, itong parol is a symbol of like hope for many of us, no? The star, no? I have used this star in a number of seminars as a guide for facing difficult moments of our lives. And of course, what we want to do, we call it sometimes setting our boundaries or self-care. We want to find out that and discover that arc. Of course, in the scriptures, we talk about this ark of Noah. No, it was like a quarantine, but it became a time of safety because of the flooding that time of symbolically of sin. And of course, we have also among the Israelites, they have what they call the Ark of the Covenant. It's important to find out these really relationships, no? And of course, it's about the relationship with God above all, and love your neighbor as you love yourself, no? We'll go back to that in a short while. Okay, I like to mention now in my way of asking people in the past. I noticed that there are top three concerns that the Filipinos have in terms of adversities, no? The first one is financial, parang kabuhayan. You can see even during this lockdown and during this quarantine time, many people, lalo na yung mga arawan, takas maraming na apektuhan, no? Business is not coming in, so at least for many people, many business were shut down and parang ganyan, no? And or could not function because of this itong mga social distancing and all this. And also relationships for Filipinos, this is very important, no? And also health. As you can see, the COVID-19, this virus is really a health issue. Okay, itong resiliency we mentioned earlier is like the symbol is like the rising of the sun, light, no? For hope and confidence. Later, I'll talk about that. Okay, here, these are just some of the important things or values that are very important as we begin to see and how we need balancing, no? Centeredness in God, caring for the self. You will see how important that is in terms of resiliency, and care for significant others. Later, I'll talk about that also. Like how do we take care of the people within the house and also other relatives, no? We begin to see this especially when people die, no? People cannot see each other, and how will they connect? I have had a number of also Zoom masses, and the only way for people to be in touch with each other is through this itong internet, and how people have their mourning and this like to honor the dead, no? And there is mourning for the lost ones, no? But also how they can be connected, especially to celebrate life. And of course, a number of things are important. Communication, we realize, and taking responsibility. We need cooperation, commitment. This is about time, presence, and fidelity. And of course, caring for the children also. These are just some of the values that are very important, especially during this time of this COVID-19 and quarantine. Okay, what are the some of the common source of resilience in this new normal? Of course, family and friends are very important, our connections. And then faith was mentioned also as a very important source of hope and like many people were saying that they would have online masses, novena, rosaries, mga ganon. And how later I will talk more about that as we try to explain it. And then the next one is frontier. I call frontier is like the edge, no? And of course, what is tested would be this health. That's why the boundaries are so important. And of course, you have a source of fun also for people, and how important it is to have studies. A lot of people like now are listening to this webinar, and a number of our guidance counselors continue to study, and the books they have been, storing for a long while, they begin to read during this time also. Okay, another source that I had was just listening from the field through some surveys about different topics like family, parenting, marriage, discipline, many other topics that I had last 2010, no? Okay, one of the things that helped me, especially with regard to this, etong kumustahan with people, yung tawag ko baga, no? It's about this integration of the mind, the heart, the hands, or head, heart, hands. The head and the heart must move as one. They must be fine-tuned to and in harmony with each other. Hindi pwedeng dalawang isip, nagdadalawang isip. Hindi pwedeng nagdadalawang puso. Hindi pwedeng hiwa-hiwalay ang parang walang pakialamanan. We realize how important it is to have this integration. And we are witnessing this, no? How we need to focus our energies, especially on what is important in life, mga ganon, no? So, this integration of life. Okay, and then tawag natin sa Tagalog na parang nagiging panatag lang yung ating kalooban kasi nagkakaisa na, no? Yung ating iniisip, yung damdamin o sasabihin, tapos yung ating mga pagkilos. Etong pagkabuo, hindi siya hiwa-hiwalay. Parang hindi pwedeng iba-iba yung ating sinasabi sa ginagawa. Iba-iba, hindi yung iniisip natin parang puro negatibo, ganyan. O kaya puro galit lang, hindi pwede. Kailangan parang buo ang ating kalooban, at saka napakahalaga maging panatag ang ating buhay, no? Okay, ito yung parang summary lang that I have tried to do it with people. Ito siguro naka 63 na ako, no? Oh, sorry. Yan. But very simple lang when I ask about the heart, the head, the hands. But simple lang. I ask people how, parang puso, no? How are you affected by the events? So I've been asking people, no? Different groups, mga frontiers, itong mga frontliners, itong mga doktor, no? I had a chance to talk to different doctors in different hospitals. Tapos and then also yung mga guidance counselors, tapos and then mga family members, mga kaklase, basta different people, no? And then just asking them how they were affected by this COVID-19. I was particularly struck by one doctor. Sabi niya, ako po naka-quarantine ngayon. I got your number, and then tapos we began talking. And as you can see, because of this new normal, naging tele-counseling. And then sabi niya, I'm a young doctor and I was exposed with this COVID-19 patients. And then I really want to go home. I have to be strong in front of my patients. I have to be strong in front of my family, but I cannot go home. I have a 2-year-old and I have 4-month-old child, and I have to parang send milk to my child, mga ganyan. So, and then I ask, you know, sabi ko, anong dinadasal mo? Anong sinasabi mo sa Diyos? Sabi niya, gusto ko na pong umuwi. Ganon. So, and then, but I am also torn because I have to do my duty. She was a scholar before, and konti lang silang doktor dun sa kanilang to mini hospital, mga ganyan. So you can see parang how torn she was, no? She wants to go home, but she has to attend to the patients. And many doctors were like that also, no? And a number of them were affected also. So some died also, no, in the earlier stages. And then of course, yung head, I began to ask people, what is important, no? Anong nakikita nyo mahalaga? And earlier, people have been saying, itong napakahalaga pala ng family yun. So, kasi people were busy, lalo yung mga teachers, ganyan, or tapos walang time for the family. But now, there's more time for the family, how important it is to connect, and also people who are very far, and how they parang connected with other people, and relatives and friends, no? So how important it is to have family, to have faith, what to hold on to, parang may kapit lang ganon. And then of course yung health does become a priority. And then I ask people, etong this balancing of self-care, I call it itong traffic of life, red, yellow, and green. And then of course itong arithmetic of life, what you need to subtract in your life, what do you need to add, multiply, and divide, no? Anong kailangan pagtulungan, no? I was struck by one young person said, I'm getting bored already, and nasusobrahan na yata ako ng Netflix o ng video games, mga ganyan, o ng junk food. So you can see na itong arithmetic of life is so important, what I need to reduce, mga ganyan. And of course, people began to also talking about this itong healthy lifestyle, no? And sticking to itong tawag nila ay itong routine ang tawag, no? Or meaningful activities. Then of course, commitment to time, presence, and itong loyalty, how important it is, no? And to respect people, yan. And at the same time, how to, tawag nga nila, there's physical isolation, but there's also itong tawag ay also social solidarity, and how to network. And we have seen so many people shine during this time. Okay, now let me go to itong ating tawag ko mga crown gems, no? I've spoken about this in other places, but and other like for example yung sa Mindful Manila, sa Radyo Katipunan, and then also in Sorsogon, no? And also South Central Mindanao, no? Okay, parang basic, simple lang siya. Tawag ko, one morning I woke up, and then of course we hear about this corona, no? Corona. And then I began to play with the word corona as crown. How do you transform? Yung sabi ko nga kanina, how do you reframe this idea of corona? So I thought of crown, and I will explain this in a short while. The C is confidence in times of crisis. Tapos yung returning home, ibig sabihin ay I suppose home there is like where you feel your best self, mga ganon. And to remember who you really are. Sabi ng mga kabataan dyan is ito yung the best version of yourself. And return home is like return to Galilee, no? Where we have significant experiences with God, mga ganon, or even with people. O is like opportunity to help, opportunity to find needs, and then O is owning responsibility, and O is also openness to God's imagination. And then W is like, ang naalala ko dyan, itong si Viktor Frankl, if you can see, During the time of this concentration camp, so many people have died. Etong si Viktor Frankl, he said that the people who survived the concentration camp were the people who had something to live for, the why of their life, people who had purpose. And of course, that is he noticed that the greatest meaning we can have in life is to have compassion. And of course, in the scriptures, we find that there's a scandal of the cross. There's a feeling of abandonment, feeling of rejection, and as you can see, the disciples disappeared, no, because they were scared. And the Lord, who was so he was like the bearer of good news, he was rejected, and in fact, he was nailed to the cross. But you can see it was also the height of trust for him, trusting in the greater wisdom and the design of God. And it's of course we want negative COVID, but and we want to go back to some form of normality in an abnormal setting, no? And then to have networking, and we say also no one is left behind. And of course, we don't want to contaminate other people. No contamination. Okay, let me explain that. By the way, here you have the confidence. This is done by my pamangkin, no? By Sid. Uh, Tapos, so there's parang confidence, a time of prayer, a time of going back to, it is like the story of Simba, no? In the Lion King. You have to return home. You have to restore the village. Remember who you are. Yung parang sa Lion King, no? So you have that lake or something. And then, of course, O is like owning responsibility, carrying your cross. W is like a time to grow in wisdom, to study, if you like. And of course, N is about networking. Yon. And let's start with this. The first one is this confidence in times of crisis. No, it is like drawing from the prayers of many people. It is like asking to guide us and protect us, lead us to the right way of love and life. No, as you can see, at this particular time of COVID-19, sabi ng iba, maraming napapraning, no? Parang overwhelming, tong parang worry and not knowing when this will end. In fact, even if we have this modified or general community quarantine, we still don't know if we'll have this, sabi ng iba nga, paano kung mag-second wave tayo, mga ganyan. And so there's still some fear, no, of what might happen. But I hear this from Hani Karandang, and she says that in a time of fear, you go to a sacred space of your life. You go to parang like your mountain, di ba, yung sa bundok ng buhay, parang you have a perspective. I thought that is beautiful. In fact, they say in a time of etong crisis and fear, if you like, or danger, perceived danger, to breathe, yon, hinga, no? Hinga lang. Because that's the time when we, para maging panatag yung kalooban. And I think that's very true. It is a resilient factor to be able to breathe, no? That's why yung very popular itong mindfulness, no? Because it's like you're really trying to breathe, no? Humihinga ng parang panatag yung kalooban, no? You inhale parang good vibes or good attitudes or light in your life. Tapos exhale whatever is toxic. As you can see, many of us, we have our own fears in life. And during this quarantine, naglilitawan yung mga takot natin sa buhay. Another idea is when you have confidence in a time of crisis, how do you sort out objective data? That's why napakahalaga nung, for example, people talk about now, is this just pneumonia? Etong COVID crisis, etong ating etong COVID virus, is it just pneumonia? You have to apply ventilator. But some studies now are saying that there's also related to the heart. Parang there's inflammation, there's an overactive this dilation of the blood vessels, mga ganyan. So and then it will affect the what kind of medicine will apply, especially when there's a lot of inflammation. No, so to have this objective data, and of course I also ask people, if you rate yourself 0 to 10, how will you, parang baseline, how will you rate yourself? Whatever number you choose is your baseline, is your beginning point. And then the difference, 10 minus, let's say, 7 or 6, you have 4 points. These are the areas of growth in a way. Okay, sabi nga nila, yung crisis is both a danger but also opportunity, no? Sa Tagalog, in the earlier times when I was trying to do this, especially with disaster response, it's important to ask, ano bang kulang sa panahon ng crisis, no? To ask yourself, ano ba yung kulang, no? Ano yung pangangailangan in the times of crisis? And here, especially during the time of crisis, you ask, this is the normal routine. Ito yung nawawala sa atin, especially to yung during the time of panic and to yung bigla na lang hindi makalabas yung mga tao, parang some people are, ito yung ating original, no? The routine, sleep, eat, play, study, work. This is the original routine. Minsan, nung nagsimula yung COVID-19, biglang hindi na makatulog yung iba, parang insomnia, no? Yung iba hindi na makalaro sa labas, ganoon. And of course, some people have to rely now on relief goods, mga ganon. So, ano ba to? Of course, we are grateful na may mga nagbibigay ng sardinas, but of course, we have to think also of what is healthy, di ba? And ito yung study, so natigil yung mga pag-aaral, ganyan. So wala nang graduation, mga ganyan. So people have been affected by that. You cannot go to work anymore. So yung mga tao, nag-work from home na sila, mga ganyan. So you have this, many things happening. Ito nga, in COVID-19, there are some people experiencing itong hunger. Itong landslide, ito panahon ito ng ibang klaseng landslide meron tayo, no? This is the pandemic nga, no? And then, of course, it's a flood of fears and no work nga, gano'n. And resiliency is, ito, ano nating ibabalik, no? We go back to the health, the food, mga basic needs. And then, of course, a prayer. And there are some people, they began to support mga relatives, mga kapatid, ganyan, those who don't have enough, especially at this time. Okay, itong ating drawing, you can see that in this particular parang triangle, we have how we need to address basic needs. Yung sabi ko nga kanina, no? Yung itong pagkain, no? Very basic, no? And tapos yung relationships also nandyan. And then of course trauma, itong a lot of feelings that are parang we need to address. And fears, mga ganyan, worries, and depression also included, ganon. But itong spiritual sa taas is like our source of resilience and parang our connection again and a source of peace, mga ganon. Okay, yung pangalawa, letter R. So I'm following the word crown. R is about, I told you earlier, it's about going back to our story, no? It's like the story of this Lion King. He ran away. Sabi nga doon ay Hakuna Matata, no? So tapos and then he was reminded by Rafiki, no? Itong kaibigan. He was the one who was there to witness the parang the offering, and then to remind him of his real identity, no? Magandang palaisipan nito during the time of itong uncertainty, how to always return to our better self. Kasi nga madala ng takot, di ba? Sabi nga itong si Mary Bowen that when we are in times of panic or danger or crisis, merong tawag silang confusion or fusion. Parang nagkabuhol-buhol na, we become overly emotional, and then sometimes we cannot objectify things. Okay, so we began to ask people, what is happening to you now? And then how are you affected? There are some people, ayaw nga tanongin yan kasi they're so afraid they might get in touch with it. Alam mo, naiinis, no? May mga ibang mga tao naiinis at nagagalit na sila because the way things are handled, magan. So some people don't want even to ask how they feel. Pero I think some balance of because our feelings or our emotions will have a sense of perspective of life, and I suppose it will tell us where we are. Okay, we say here, it is not what you do or what you have, it is what you do with what you have, no? It is, again, looking for your own gifts and talents. Okay, yung pangalawa, ang tawag ko ay Oops, sorry. Pangalawang tawag ay kalakasan o kalikasan. No? Yung kanina, yung letter R is to return to our better version of ourselves. Yung kalakasan natin o kalikasan. Even the mess can become a message. This is, in fact, the drug addicts, they know this. Parang the weakness can also become a source of strength one day, especially when there's a lesson. Sabi nga nitong si Kim Chu dun sa Bawal Lumabas, no? Parang meron ding pwedeng matutuhan, no, sa ating karanasan sa buhay, no? Okay, letter O, I'm in the middle part. So etong O is about opportunities, no? This is about seeing the needs, no? And it's also a time to open to God's imagination, no? Maganda to, sabi nila sa research, di ba? You ask yourself what is being done and what is not being done, di ba? Remember, in the normal curve, they say many people are in the center, to parang crowd mentality. But sometimes we need to also have itong outlier nga, no, sa edges. We need people who can take initiative and then take responsibility, no. Hindi lang parang bashing or umaangal. There are some people full of hatred, no, and they put down people. And yun ang kinakain sa puso, no? Parang yung galit, ang daming galit, no? But instead of taking responsibility, how can we have teamwork? How can we, how do we help each other? So important is to ask ourselves, what are the values that we can hold on at this time? Okay, yung pangatlo is like, anong kayang gawin at kailangang ayusin. You can see the people who are really responding to needs. Halimbawa, yung in the early part of this ating lockdown or even quarantine, people began to think of shuttle, no? Itong urgent needs to find shuttles for the frontliners. In fact, we have a guidance counselor somewhere in Rizal. Sabi niya ay nakita niya na parang naglalakad lang yung mga frontliners. So he began to think, kasi biker siya. So he began to think of mga bisikleta, no, to hire and even have fundraising to allow these frontliners to have bikes, mga ganon. And of course, you have the vice president, you have a number of people who began to look for mga shuttles, no, to bring people to their hospitals, ganon. Okay, so the crisis can make us define, no, what is important in our lives. And sabi nga nitong si Mary Bowen, when we are fused and confused and overly emotional, it is important to find our principles, the values that are important for us. Okay, nasa tayo, almost there. So the next one is about wisdom. Wisdom is the parang W, no? Sabi nga nila, where there's a will, there's a way. If you know your purpose, then you can know your destination or your destiny, no? So important to find this wellspring. Ang palagi ko sinasabi dyan, the height, the depth, the breadth, and length of God's love. In fact, some people are saying there must be a purpose to this. There must be a reason for all this happening. Sabi nung iba, be still, no? Be still, parang God is in charge. He's the pilot, mga ganon. And a number of people were saying that matatapos din ito. God is bigger than this virus, mga ganon. So I would hear this, no, from people. And parang sila ay patuloy na nagro-rosaryo, sila ay nagsisimba, ganon, online. Some people have novenas, mga ganon. You can see the people who are parang more relaxed kasi they have some meaningful rituals they do. In fact, in some places, in Nueva Ecija, meron silang parang the symbol of the kampana. Pinapatugtog yung kampana at certain times, if only to say, God is here. The priest is here. There is mass here, ganyan. So parang meron siyang regularity, no? Itong may kampana, ganon. And of course, as I said earlier, what is important for in the journey of the Israelites was this Ark of the Covenant. Ito raw ang pinaka-holy of holies. What is that? It is love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength and compassion. Ito, naglalabasan ito, no? It's a call for imagination, no? And then there'll be life beyond this COVID-19. You know? Of course, other people will say, what sparks joy in your life? Ako, gusto ko to. What gives you enthusiasm, no? What is the burning bush of your life? Yun. Okay, ito ang tawag ay letter K, kahalagahan at kahulugan, no? Ano ba yung mahalaga sa iyong buhay, no? Itong purpose of your life. Ito yung galing sa Bawal Lumabas nitong si Kim Chu. Sabi niya, oh no, you can shut me down. I'll break free, bounce back, no? I'll bounce back from the ground. May natatangi tayong batas. Nalilimutan nating madalas. Yun ang some people are saying, batas ay batas. Of course, you have ito very divisive, no? At this time to shut down a broadcast, gano'n. Pero ang sabi nila, nakakalimutan na yung talagang batas na mas malalim sa lahat ng batas. Mahalin mo ang iyong kapwa kung paano mo mahalin ang iyong sarili, no? So, ganyan. Okay, the very parang painful moments of our life, sabi nga nila, it can be our purifying, no? It can be purifying, and it can also make us see, to make amends, to examine our life, and it can be a plus sign. And when we are in desolation daw, sabi ng mga classical spiritual writers, ito raw yung time to make amends, to see, sabi nga ng mga drug addict and alcoholic when they recover, to make an inventory of life, to examine one's life, parang ganon. And then, to see, pag malinaw na yung aking isip, yon, I begin to examine my life and how do I amend my life? How do I make this crosses of my life plus signs? Parang positive plus signs. Okay, ito na yung last part. The last part is about N. N is nourishing and nurturing. O babalik ulit yan, no? What is important? It's like balancing of self-care. You will hear this again and again. And then also, while we may have this physical isolation, there's a need to have this social solidarity or something, no? Our physical isolation doesn't mean we won't be connected to each other. And of course, we also realize that there are old viruses lurking, no? Parang nandiyan na yan, even before the quarantine time. And you can see there are some people who are even afraid. There are some abuses, no, that happen, domestic violence, mga ganyan. And some people even report of these abuses to kids, mga ganun, no? So how important it is going back, no, to our calling to have healthy lifestyle. While there may be a strong temptation to have addiction at this time, but to find a decision, always in the brink, no, always in the brink of sometimes in our life when we want to go back to our old ways, we have to have this healthy lifestyle. Sabi nga nung kaibigan ko, yung hands is hygiene. Tapos E, exercise. N, nourishment or nutrition. And S, good sleep. Yung ganon. So parang very simple lang siya, pero basic, no? This hygiene, exercise, tapos nutrition, and then itong yung sleep, no? In fact, this self-care has allowed some people daw to connect with other people because they are parang they take care of themselves and they have a healthy lifestyle. They're able to bring out their best. Ano yun? Pwede magluto, pwede mag-bake, pwede mag-ganchilyo, pwede mag-gardening, pwede magtanim sa labas, pwedeng ang tawag pa ng iba, merong isang sa Sorsogon, merong obispo na marunong pala siya mag-bake, and meron silang parang feeding program for parang children, no? And this bishop was able to connect with Jollibee, yung kanilang mga arena, ay mga the flour, pwede sila mag-bake, parang ganon. So parang so many things. In fact, I know of a priest. He is able to help etong ating mga homeless, no? And we really thank a number of schools who are able to parang at this time, yung mga homeless, ano sila, they are housed in different schools, no? Like LaSalle or other Saint School and other places. Parang yun, inaalagaan sila, no? And while yung other communities are driving them away, thank God, no, naging hospitable yung ibang mga mga eskwela at ibang mga madre, gano'n, no? And also, we begin to figure out so many talents come out at this time. May mga singers, nagbabayanihan, musikahan sila, gano'n. Business people, they also help out with the feeding program and itong relief operations, gano'n. Dito sa Ateneo, where I am, our scholastics, they come from different countries. So they take turns, no? Parang nagre-repack sila ng mga relief goods, mga gano'n, yung mga dried fish and mga rice, gano'n. And parang so many things. In fact, yung mga teachers na kausap ko the other day, sabi nila kahit lang pong maliit na may aambag, yon. It's almost like the symbol of this 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Konti lang, pero yung kukunti na yon, dahil sa pinagsama-sama, parang ang daming napakain, gano'n, at umaapaw pa. You know, I'm really grateful that siguro we're able to survive at this time. I'm not saying it's perfect. Walang perfect sa buhay. Merong iba hindi nakakatanggap. Pero yung iba nakakatanggap, pero tinatanggap nila yung mga ayuda, ang tawag nila, but they give it to their neighbors kasi hindi naman nila kailangan. Gano'n. So, yung ibang mga teachers, hindi naman malaking salary nila, but they share to their, yung walang kinikita ng mga kamag-anak o mga kapatid. Gano'n. They share, no? And that's what they share, no? And for me, that is siguro ang ating resiliency is really compassion. If you ask me, what is our resiliency? It's really a well of compassion for our people, no? So again, questions that we ask, what kind of routine or meaningful rituals that I can do every day? I can say, kailan ito matatapos? Sabi nga nila, do not count the days. Make the days count. Yun. Okay? And then, big question is, who do I collaborate or partner with so that I can reach out, no, for creative compassion? We have young people, no? Sila, ito mga kasamahan ko sa community. They did fundraising for protective equipments for the doctors, for the frontliners, ganyan. And I know Sinagang Badoy, they gather resources, no? Mga itlog, kung ano-ano, pagkain for the frontliners. And then second is, again, we say earlier, what do I need to lessen or strengthen? Itong tawag ko ay arithmetic of life. And then also traffic of life, red, yellow, and green. Yon. I suppose it's like balancing of my life and some self-care or discipline. Okay. Okay, last part. Here you have sino aking makakasama o kaagapay. And then, of course, the other question is, ano ang itong aking kailangang itanim, no? O kasanayan, no? Ito nga yung ating meaningful rituals, yung gano'n. Okay? Okay. Okay, these are my references. Basically, I drew from my own, parang my own way of asking our people through over the years, no? And then asking questions, no? What are the top adversities, top desires of our people, no? Sources of our light. And then, of course, ito nga, yung resilient families, stories of that. And then even the stories of how our wives survived the infidelity, for example. So stories of inspiring, mga stories and best practices. And then, of course, mga excellence. And then the gems for good governance. May ka ba? We mentioned that earlier during times of disaster. And tapos the prayers of the people from the shrines or monasteries, times of retreat. Tapos also, what helps people become resilient during this drug war before the COVID-19, and then the gifts of the next generation, and of course, mental health or mental well-being. And we mentioned itong BAGA, no, about the heart, head, hands, and then also about the crown gems. Yan. Okay, Francis, tapos na ako. Okay, that's it. Okay, I'm done. Thank you for listening.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. Yes, Father Ted, thank you very much for this wonderful discussion of this topic, resilience in the new normal. Now, I would like to ask our participants to please type in your questions on our chat box so that Father Ted can answer your questions. Again, we would like to remind our participants that after this webinar, a link will be provided either in your comment section or a separate post in the PGCA Facebook official page. We would like also to request our participants to please like and follow our Facebook page. Uh, right now, we are waiting for questions from our participants. Maybe Father Ted, how can, for example, yes, you have discussed earlier about our teachers, our when it comes to educational system. Now, for example, how can what can be your advice or thoughts on our educational managers, for example, since uh, I think we need also to look from another perspective. How can be resilient since they're also, for example, teachers, they're also parents, they're also significant others. Ah.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I suppose, remember we have this mental health law, di ba? And I think it's how we need to have this mental wellness. And when we talk about mental, I realize hindi lang siya mental what we think, no? Although that's very important, but it's also good to have positive attitudes in life. So I suppose lessons from resiliency, important to have the right perspective, no? And the fact that our secretary, no, of education says that in the first week or so of the school year, we need to give time, no? That this is where we need our guidance counselors and also the other guidance advocates yata ang tawag nila, to have this mental well-being, to revisit, no? Especially, ang mga kinakausap ko, napansin ko, yung what's being done, what is not being done. Ang nakakausap ko, mga elders, no? At saka yung mga merong web. But it's good maybe to find out, to ask at mga kabataan, no? In their own language, how they were surviving during this quarantine time. Of course, sabi nga natin, walang pasok, di ba? And I haven't had the chance to, and this one is an invitation for people, paano kaya nag-survive yung mga kabataan? Maliban sa sila ay nagti-TikTok or sila ay sumasayaw. Although that's also very important, no? And they have their own creative classes, etc. At home, may mga may mga parents na yung nagde-declamation, ganyan. Merong iba nag-aaral magluto kasama yung mga bata, ganyan. And then also merong father and son, no? They behind their house, I heard in Cagayan de Oro, Misamis, I think, they they would have gardening or planting fruit trees, no? I thought that was a bonding time, no? So and also I think it's important to have good communication. I'm not saying it's easy, no, for some families, but how important is this to listen, no? How people are doing, mga ganun. So, also, ano pang pwede magawa? Remember what we said in terms of resiliency? Yung meron iba, they have this meaningful ritual of, they have prayer time together. You know, some families do that. And they have found out how important it is to connect not just with each other, but to connect with the God above, who sabi nga nila might have a purpose and for all this, why this is happening at this time. No? So we need to have, parang we need to look up. Di ba? Sabi natin, paano kung you have dangers from different places. Sometimes the only way is to look within or to look up, no? Ganyan. Anyway, sige, Francis.
We have series of questions, Father Ted, but before that, I would like to remind our participants and our future participants of our webinar series. Our webinar is being streamed live sa ating Facebook page. Again, please be reminded that you can watch and you can replay the webinars sa ating Facebook page. Okay? Another question, Father Ted, how about the children? What can we teach them to do to be resilient in this crisis?
Well, yung simple na binanggit ko yung baga, no? To just ask how they feel, no? At this time. Pwedeng, kasi pag mga bata, depende on the age, di ba? Minsan, sometimes they cannot even articulate how they feel. What some teachers have done or what some counselors have done is to have drawing, no? They draw what was happening to them in this, parang kagaya nung sa disaster time, no? So they begin to have this drawing, and you can see from the drawing what their experiences was like, no? During this quarantine time, kasi hindi sila nakakalabas, no? And also yung meron silang parang ganito, you can see me, minsan parang meron kang gine-gauge, no? How do you feel? Pwedeng kamay nakataas o nakaganyan, no? So in fact, they say even yung I heard before that the way to calm kids also is like of course some people are good with dancing, okay, sige, mag zumba or whatever, but the others are yung sa breathing exercise para sa mga bata. Sometimes they will hold their tummy, tapos yung parang umakyat, bumababa, ganyan, but it's really basically parang to calm them. O kaya ako, I use my hands and I have tried this many times, no? For example, to calm down kids, mga children of those affected by the drug war, mga widows and orphans. Ano lang kami, parang yung parang symbolic gesture of the hand. Tumatahimik yung mga bata, no? And nakakalma sila, ganun. So I suppose you can be creative and drawing, hand gestures, and also parang listening to them how they are. Although depende sa kung how old the kids are, and to have games siguro, I know. So because the kids are basically imaginative and might be a time to share stories, mga ganun. So anyway, sige.
Yes, Father. Another question. How do you bounce back when people ostracize you because of being COVID positive?
Yeah, I heard about that, no?
Yeah.
I suppose may mga talagang mga maiksi ang pananaw sa buhay, no? Parang, and sometimes instead of supporting, although you can also see in other places, here or abroad, parang pinapalakpakan yung mga frontliners, and yung mga pasyente naman, I think we need a lot of compassion for them, no? O kaya yung mga families with the positive, di ba, kasi na-ostracize nga sila. But I think there are really some people who have parang they lack understanding and compassion. Sometimes kung yung may stigma, mga ganyan, we just have to rely on our inner strength. And to have this compassion within us. Di ba, even in the scripture we say, Lord, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. No? And sometimes we need that trust within us. And to still stay healthy, no? Hindi ibig sabihin parang an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Di ba? Parang, kasi maraming mga bashers eh. At saka maraming mga trolls, maraming mga talagang parang full of hatred inside. We don't need that. Okay? Masyado nang maraming galit ang mundo. O angal. Ay, gusto ko to. Wag lang umangal. Ibalik mo yung dangal. Yan. And I think that's a big difference. How we see people. And I think it's important. Ang tawag nila, respect. pwedeng magtapon ng sama ng loob, lalo na sa social media, ganon, or the way we look at people. Or we can really, at this time of our life, kahit na parang hindi natin maintindihan nangyari, how to respect people. But hindi ibig sabihin that we cannot improve systems or ganyan. Okay.
Yes, Father. Another question. I think since especially yung sa private sector natin na mga brethren, here's the question. Teachers and other non-teaching staff has no work and no pay. How can we help them or be more hopeful, to be more hopeful?
That's a good question kasi may mga
Yes.
nawalan ng trabaho, 'di ba? May mga layoff no? Tapos merong iba na hindi sila sigurado kung makakabalik sila sa eskwela o may mag-e-enroll. I would hear this if I do consultation in different places. At saka yung iba naman sinasabi nila ay kasi tuloy ang klase pero lahat online. Paano yung mga bata na 'di ba, walang pambili ng data or wala silang wifi, mga ganun. So these are some of the worries. But anyway, let me go back to that, no? What do we say to people like in the private sector, let's say na parang lalo na yung mga nawalan ng trabaho, ganyan, no? Meron iba naman sabi nila, meron iba na kumbaga pinaghandaan na nila to. Merong konting ipon kasi halimbawa I had one counselee who was coming back from the cruise liners. Di ba, meron tayong mga Pinoy tayong ganyan, parang seafarers or nasa ano sila, cruise line. Umuwi sila mag-asawa kasi yung cruise line, ano na siya, pinauwi na sila, ganyan. Tapos, buti na lang meron silang konting ipon, no? So, siguro big lesson for us is how we have itong financial management. Sabi nga nila, kung walang sinuksok, wala kang madudukot, di ba? So that is one side is to have long-term budgeting. Remember the time of yung kay Moses daw, during the time of famine, di ba? Yung time of famine, itong si Joseph, this is Joseph pala, no? During the time of famine in Egypt, si Joseph the dreamer was the one who apportioned and rationed the food. So, ano din, siguro meron ding a way to parang budget, no? Whatever resources was left behind. The other thing that maybe that we can do is learn new skills. Sabi nila, in a time of waiting, ngayon ang quarantine, di ba? Yung mga matagal na hindi nababasa mga libro, ngayon nababasa ng mga ibang counselors daw. Nagwe-webinar sila. So, in a time of waiting, what do? We study, we learn new skills. O kaya maghanap ng pagkakakitaan. Itong mga Pinoy, magaling naman siya magnegosyo, gano'n. So paunti-unti, although I know kasi paunti-unti yung mga pagbukas ng quarantine. Tapos siguro naisip ko din, I realized as I listen to people, it's a time to really help each other. Parang yung mga namamatayan, di ba? How do people, pag sila ay namatayan, lalo na yung I just had mass, for example, in Bayawan, Negros, no? And through the Zoom. Bata pa yung siguro mga 40 pa lang siya, yung the wife, and left, I don't know how many kids, no? 3 yata or something. And then, usually I tell people during the time of loss, sino magtutulungan? Di mga magkakapatid, mga magkakamag-anak. Usually, yun naman ang ginagawa, di ba? O kaya si lola o yung mga kapatid na a time to support each other. I remember when I was young, I don't know, wala kaming pagkain. I remember that when I was young, wala kaming pagkain. And my auntie, no, I will be forever grateful to her. Pupunta na kami sa kanyang karinderya. And then alam na niya, wala kaming pagkain, gano'n. So, I suppose, our community, this is their time to help each other. Our families, they will be our source of resilience. Sabi nga kanina, di ba? Yung family, friends, no? It's a time to support, ganyan. And those are creative in creating jobs, no? I think it would be good to consider these people na walang trabaho, ganun. So, but of course, it will be, hindi ako negosyante o hindi ako magaling sa business. All I know is people will have to learn parang new skills, mga ganon. Parang in the meantime, ganon, no? And other people are so good in finding new jobs. Alam mo, meron akong nakausap na magaling siya na gumawa ng cake, no? Wow, ang daming order ng cake kasi masarap siya magluto. And she didn't know she was good with itong frozen mango na cake. Ang sarap, no? Natikman ko nung isang araw, Father Advance Father's Day, mga ganyan. Pero ito, ang daming order na hindi nila na-fill up kasi ganyan, this time can be a good time to discover old skills.
Yes, Father. Okay, thank you for very much for that. For our participants, we are very much elated with your questions. However, we could not answer all your questions. Sobrang dami, but we really appreciate your questions. There are also questions na yung mga sagot po would be tackled sa ibang webinar po, just like for example on telecounseling or online counseling, we have a separate webinar for that. Then we have also on suicide, it might be discussed in another webinar. So ano lang siguro, we could not have stack it in one webinar alone. That is why we are having our webinar series. But again, we would like to thank you for your questions, and we really appreciate that. Another question, Father Ted. Siguro ito yung follow-up question from our kanina I've asked you a question about our administrators. Siguro ito
Yes.
from another one, siguro follow-up ito. I have a question po as a school formator. This is from one of our
Yes, okay.
participants
Okay,
is,
okay.
how can we journey with our students po, especially helping them with resiliency?
Our guide, this is the time when we really see how we need our guidance counselors, no? Whether in public schools or in private schools, really to encourage, no? To allow our guidance counselors to have their role. In fact, I think that is their role to help our students. In fact, in some consultations I've had around the country, sabi nila, wow, amazing, ha? Some of the guidance counselors already identified students at risk. Wow, they have a list of data to identify. And then they connect, no? Hindi yung mga estudyante ang tumatawag. The counselors are given load to call the students. I was really amazed by that na may follow-up. In fact, during the quarantine, may mga na-stranded na mga estudyante sa mga boarding houses, in some places, in different places, no, Manila, Cebu, ganyan, lalo na yung mga taga-province. They connected with them. Even their old students, yung mga nasa frontline, kasi alumni na yun. But kilala pa yun ng mga guidance counselors, yung kanilang mga estudyante, old students, and they connected with them. In fact, isa pang magandang nangyayari, many schools, they gathered their mental health resources, yung mga personnel nila. Nagtutulungan, no? And I think collaboration is very important. The guidance counselor should be there, of course. And then iba mga social workers or mental health professionals or yung ibang mga psychologists, etc. Parang even working with mga LGUs. So what I'm saying is to collaborate. I think that's very important. Collaborate so that we can respond to the question itong how to reach out to the students. So I think there are, tapos yung iba to set up itong tawag nila ay tele-counseling. And I think automatically some of our guidance counselors have done that. I've heard that story in Cebu, mga ganyan. O kaya I've heard that story in Dumaguete. sa ano dun sa Siliman and the other mga guidance counselors. I've heard that story in the Cagayan de Oro. I've heard that story in the sa Zamboanga, mga ganun, and many other places. So parang there are initiatives being done by the different organizations or even by different counselors attached, parang they know their place, parang the mental wellness and mental well-being, the whole person, parang to encourage this, in other words.
Yes, thank you, Father. No, it's good that we know that meron pala yung mga guidance counselors natin na mga initiatives, and it's up siguro sa ating mga institutions how we should be able to maximize and utilize our guidance counselors, especially in helping our clients or our service users in terms of resiliency. Now, talking about resiliency
Francis,
again, yes, well, Father.
Meron pa isang dagdag.
Yes, sure.
I noticed some of the administrators or formators, now they are designing webinars. They're inviting mga counselors. For example, we're getting invitation in some places in Nueva Ecija. And then mga superintendents, mga ganon. So I think this openness for preparing the students for the school year and teachers also is being done in collaboration with counselors. So baka kagaya nitong webinar can be done also by the different schools bonding together. In fact, there was one invitation, I think, being considered by, I think it's in the South, yata yun. And they want to have webinar for teachers nga, ganyan. So, and guidance counselors, of course, yeah. In fact, maybe Francis, you can also mention yung how the need to encourage etong sa laws. Remember yung what we want to promote through laws, di ba? To have better remuneration for some of our counselors and better positions, mga ganon. Because they are qualified, di ba? They can to support this.
Yes, Father. Yeah, I think it's very important that our society, our community, should acknowledge the importance of our mental health professionals, especially our guidance counselors, not only in school settings, but also in the community. Now, talking about resiliency. Now, another question, Father Ted: how can we help those people develop resiliency if they have a lots of negativistic thoughts already, especially in this pandemic?
I think that's normal. Sabi nga nila, to have worries, to have negative thoughts in this time, parang abnormal time like this, itong virus nga, itong pandemic, no? Sabi nga nila yung how do we recognize if they're open to listen naman, no? Kasi minsan it's hard to help people pag they're close already and they deny what's going on. One is to listen to them, no? To usually napansin ko dun sa the way it's like balancing because sometimes when we have negative thoughts, we only see a portion of reality. Yung parang ito lang, ito basta dahil sa sama ng loob, minsan yung nakikita sa mundo puro galit, mga ganun. So how to see there's a wider truth, yun. How to balance it with meron tayong kahinaan, pero deep inside there's also parang capacity for there's a potential in all of us to be better. So sa akin what I will do is I will highlight ano ba tong galing nitong taong ito, yon. I know it is so easy to judge the person. Talagang nakakabanas talaga ganyan. Gusto mo ng whatever, no? Tsaka kasi this time, may mga iba nagmumura na, no? Kasi naka-lockdown eh. Lumilito yung kanilang mga dating ugali. Pero, one is the way I view the person. Na itong taong ito, kahit na parang minsan ay mahirap spellingin, to maintain respect for the person. makita yung kanyang galing, no? Yung kanyang potential. And then maybe in some conversation to see maybe there's a wider sense of the truth, yun. Tawag nila doon, di ba, cognitive behavioral, di ba? So, at saka, ano pang ibang magagawa, parang ganon, na desisyon, di ba? Choices in life, na pwede akong umangal o pwede akong magbigay ng dangal. And tama din naman, no, na pwede magtulungan, ganon. Yung iba ay sana itigil na yung fake news, no? O kaya yung mga trolls, di ba? Parang trabaho nila para puro negative. Medyo hindi ata maganda, di ba? Kasi hindi na totoo, mga ganun. O kaya maling paggamit ng batas, di ba? I think batas ay batas, totoo. Pero merong mas malalim na batas, yung gano'n, that will have to guide us. Yun. So, interpretation yun, di ba? Ng buhay, di ba? Ano yung talagang totoo, gano'n. Hindi lang shutdown ng shutdown or shoot down. But there is life that is very important. Yan.
Yes, Father. Siguro last two questions. Another question, siguro more of another sector. So how do we accompany and build resilience in the elderly who are also struggling with this quarantine and crisis?
That's very interesting question kasi depende sa edad, no? But if we say, kasi maybe mga elderly na, wow, buhay na buhay ang isip at mahina na yung katawan, immunocompromised, pero gising na gising. In fact, there are some people, wow, nakakaabot ng 90s or 100. Why? Kasi sabi nila, merong mga qualities yung mga yan. Number one, mahilig sila magbasa. Yon. Meron iba, malapit na malapit sa kanilang mga apo, sa mga apo-apuhan, mga tuhod, apo sa tuhod. Parang they are so connected with the people they love, with significant others. No? Tapos sila ay nag-exercise sila, no? In fact, nakita ko sa isang palabas na may mga lola na sumasayaw, no? So parang to encourage them to have life also. Tapos merong iba na may mga lola or lolo na maalaga naman sila, gano'n. To encourage them to merong iba nga parang magaling silang, of course, parang second parenting sa mga bata, no? Yung iba naman, I think a little more challenge kasi kailangan understanding. Merong iba sabi nga nila parang mga pasayaw, baka hindi lang pasaway, siguro encourage people pasayaw imbis na ano tawag to? Pasaway, no? Para pasayaw. Parang to see maybe their potential also. Merong iba, tinutulungan nila mag-painting, ganon. I have seen that, no, and care for the elderly. Merong iba kasi at this time, yung kung mga later age na, there is a natural tawag na dementia, no? So, in the brain scan or brain studies, you can see that gradually para ang ating brain para siyang mga computer, yung mga disk na minsan naapektuhan na siya with our feelings, with our ganyan thoughts. So parang extra understanding, gano'n. Sabi nila pag may edad na daw, you don't give them many choices. Dapat, depende sa edad nila, no? At saka their capability or tawag nila ay itong capacity. Pero merong iba, not to burden them with a lot of choices. Ano lang, A or B lang. Ganun. A or B, no? But a lot of compassion, I suppose, for them. Yun. So, yun, their presence is a lot already, no? They can sing. Napansin ko sa isang kwento, merong isang lola na, wow, super, ang dami niyang mga alam na mga, yung mga kwento, no? Pakwentuhan sila. Yun. Because old people, they have a lot of stories. Maybe allow them to tell stories. And especially of the past that they are so proud of, and I think mukhang magandang to hear the legacy of the past. Yun. Ako when I have mass for the dead, I mourn with the people, but I turn it into a celebration of life. Yun.
Uh,
And they have a lot of, di ba sabi nga nila Eric Erickson, they have parang long memories, no? Yung good memories sana that they can go back to.
yes, Father. Last question. Another sector naman, what are the possible action taken or recommendation to help our military group and the frontliners in order for them to be proactive and possess resilient faith despite of the mental distress they have encountered at their respective field?
Tama. In fact, I have one student, ang kanyang anak, no, ano din siya, police din sa checkline, no, sa checkpoint, no. And then, ano yun, buntis din yan. So she was so worried about her daughter who is in the front lines na the checkpoint, no? Police din, no? Na buntis, no? Meron palang ganyan. And then also I see from sa media, there are some people siguro out of stress nagmamanyanita. You must have heard about this, and sometimes they want to celebrate also, ganyan. Kaya lang parang some people worry about are they following the laws that they're supposed to be enforced, ganyan, di ba? So may mga ganyan. But what we want is siguro like many people, mga doctors, and parang they also need to be heard. Yun. Ako, I had an uncle. He must have been stressed when he was parang when he was in the military service, ganyan. And he would just visit my mom, no, kapatid niya, and we would welcome him. So I suppose what can we do for mga military people? I think they deserve to be heard. They deserve to be siguro to din parang to consider this mental wellness that we talk about. But also, siguro, baka reminder din sa kanila when under stress. Kasi meron iba sa kanila, dalawa nang nakita ko na sa nag-viral. Nagbubuntal, ganon. So siguro to teach our military people peacemaking, no? How to have non-violent also ways. Not all military are violent, but there are some people siguro out of stress, nagbubuntal, ganun. As you can see, mga violators, nakita, 2 beses ko nata nakita na. So, how to teach them, I think, mental health in terms of peacemaking, non-violent ways. Yan.
Thank you very much, Father. Kasi may nakita ko na very interesting comment, another interesting comment. But before that, I would like to inform our participants that the evaluation link is already available on a separate post in our PGCA Facebook page. Again, please do like and follow our PGCA official Facebook page. An interesting comment actually, Father Ted, about guidance counselors. Hindi raw na kahit na mention ng DepEd or ng Secretary of Education ang guidance counselors. I hope those who are with us also can help us in this area wherein maybe some of you are already gaining the knowledge on how supposedly and ideally the guidance counselors would work, especially in the school setting or in the community setting. I hope you can help us also na ma-reach out ang ating education sector and also our LGUs regarding the purpose, the roles, and responsibilities of our guidance counselors. Father Ted, another pahabol with your, I think this, yeah, pahabol. This is siguro with your kamustahan session, your heart, hand, heart, and hand. Yeah. We plan. Yeah, we plan to conduct kamustahan sessions with our students before the opening of classes. Is this strategy enough as an initial psychosocial support for them?
I suppose there are more ways, di ba? This is just one way. It's just a way to integrate, no? Itong kamustahan. But I think some creative ways can still be done. for people. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung using drawing or painting, if you like, coloring, to see how they are. Maybe, alam ko na. Another one is, remember, young people, they like to have group sessions. So baka pwede siguro yung how to have group work, no? Magkwentuhan lang sila kung ginawa nila. Kasi ako, pamangkin, no? At ano din sila, marami silang kwentuhan, no? Although yung iba may mga asawa na, although they're younger. And some of them did the fundraising itong some of the young people and very creative. Siguro, anong tawag nila? Yung kwentuhan, no? Ano yung kanilang mga initiatives during the time of pandemic. I know it can be a stressful time for the young people kasi they want to be with their friends, kailangan sila mag-basketball, kailangan silang, outdoor, whatever. Pero baka it might be good to ask the young people how they were able to survive during this walang pasok, mga ganun ba? And what happened? Kasi some had good bonding with their family, no? Ako nga, I gave them task. Merong iba na, merong nasira na table, merong in charge dyan. Merong masarap magluto si mama. Ibang may in our house, yeah. So maybe we can ask our pasok, anong initiative nila, gano'n, anong kasi yung I know I was one time I was talking to a young leader, no, in South Central Mindanao, Cotabato. Ano siya, ano to, yung he was taking initiative in terms of connecting with his classmates. Kumustahan din sila, gano'n. So perhaps to ask what were some of the initiatives of the young people during this lockdown. Kasi may mga Facebook Messenger, may mga Viber, merong mga WhatsApp, mga ganyan. So how they were able to use this mga social media applications perhaps during this time to connect with their friends. Kasi remember, the young people, they like to be with their friends. And how do they support their friends, di ba? Kasi I'm sure there are some young people na tawag nila nabuburyong daw, mga ganun, di ba? So how they were able to support each other. Yeah. Meron iba nagba-Bible study, ganon, no? And I heard that also, no? So different initiatives of people. And to inquire about these initiatives they have done, no? Or lack of initiative, pwede rin siguro. Or the boredom, just yung gano'n lang, just to surface these things. And maybe to learn, no? Learn from the experience. Could I have done better? Di ba? Sabi natin, in times of difficulties, and then how can we do better? Yeah. Lesson pa rin, di ba? Lesson of life. Yung tawag ko nga na arithmetic and the traffic of life. Yeah. Okay, Francis.
Yes. Thank you very much, Father Ted. To our dear participants, though how we want you to we want to answer your questions or your queries, but again, we would like to ask you, if you have other concerns, you can message our page for your messages. And another thing, our link or our evaluation will be until 6 p.m. today. Again, to our dear participants, our link, our evaluation link is open until 6 p.m. only. So, Father Ted, thank you very much for your time. And together with us also are some of the officers of the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, representatives and presidents from national counseling organizations. We have also members of the PRB who are also with us this afternoon. So thank you so much, and thank you for your support. So our next webinar would be on next Tuesday, June 2, with Doc Julian. Okay, so please take note again. Please register on a separate link or on a separate poster posted in our Facebook page. Uh, for our participants today, please be patient with us. Please bear with us since we are dealing with thousands of registrants, and it might take time for us to email your certificates and the materials provided here in this webinar. So with that, we would like to thank our participants, and we hope to see you next Tuesday. So with that, thank you and good afternoon.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you for those who have participated and those who have listened or watched. Thank you po. Maraming salamat. God bless you all. Thank you.
Ayan, Father Ted.
Thank you.
Ayan. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Francis.
Job well done.